right, this Hangout is on live. This is Alicia Stringer here, and you just found the Millionaire Mindset Hangout. And we're a bunch of super moms that want to thrive on sharing with you some personal mindset on really getting to that millionaire mindset level. We've had several awesome, amazing guests on here that shared with us their transformation. And today we have a special guest, Landon Stewart, who is going to share some of his transformations that he's been able to make in his business. So first I want to introduce our panel real quick, and we have Gret over there, Supermom in Canada. Would you like to come out and introduce yourself in adorable Forest?
Yes, I am here, and I'm super excited, and this is my little guy. You'll see him in and out, who had a little accident. He kissed the cement earlier, so it looks like he's wearing lipstick.
Bless his heart.
Don't worry, he's all good and happy, and I'm just super excited to hear from Landon and hear your stories. He's such an amazing speaker, and we'll definitely keep you engaged and create a breakthrough for you today. I'm just so excited for these Hangouts. It's like breakthrough after breakthrough after breakthrough, and so I'm happy that you're here with us today as well.
Thank you.
How about Keisha?
Hi, Keisha Parker here. I'm so glad to be a part of this awesome team of lovely super women, and with our guest Landon. Landon, I am super excited to hear your story and all that you have to share with us, and I know everyone else out there are going to really benefit from what you are going to share today. So I'm just ready to rock and roll.
Oh, and Valerie's gone. What's up with that? She had to go get her twins. She never know with Valerie. It's kind of funny. Everybody goes, she's that crazy lady over there. And we all agree. And she agrees too. It's all good. We have transformation. When she comes back, pops on from managing her twin boys that are about 4. She tries her best to manage them in the other room because we're here, super mom, single mom, some of us, and we want to make sure that we have everything under control, right? We have our many hats that we wear. So we were excited to have Landon out, and I know Valerie had a really deep question that we wanted to bring Landon out and share with us, you know, what was that pivotal moment or that shift that you've been able to make in your business where you were able to, you know, see maybe the income transformation or maybe a personal transformation? Oh, Valerie's back. You want to say something before Stewart Landon comes out?
Hey, yeah, no. Hi, yeah, Valerie Jimpolsky. As you see, I've got my twins, mompreneur here, working from home like we all are. And I don't know what I missed. Introduce
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay. All right. Yeah. No. Basically, welcome. You're going to see us. We're all moms here, so a lot of us, except for Landon, he's not a mom. We might be hopping on and off. That's just part of the game of what we do, just to show that you can work with your lifestyle and have it all and be with your kids. So, going to Landon. What I would love to ask you is, what was the most powerful shift that created the success that you have in your business, and how did you get there?
Yeah. Definitely would love to answer that. Yeah, I went to my very first network marketing event, and I just wrote a video, so I kind of like this story on the top of my head, but it was either 2009 or 2010. I went to my very first ever network marketing event, and it was actually the event that I met Dave Wood, and he was speaking at this event, and I remember like sitting towards the back of the room and just watching these people speak, and it was like they were like superhuman. I was like 19 years old at the time, and I saw Dave speak, and it was like everything in my life changed that moment. I was like, I'm going to make it. And then he actually was having like this little VIP party thing in his hotel room that night, and he had like all of the leaders from his team, which I wasn't a leader on his team yet. I was on his team in a different business before he started Empower Network, which I wasn't a leader on the team, and he was having this party, and I actually snuck into the party, and I was able to have a conversation with Dave. This is also where I met Chris Rushwell, and I talked to Chris for a while. I got to talk to Dave for a while, and Dave like grabbed me on my shoulder, like looked me in the eyes, and he's like, I believe in you. you can live your dreams. And so I walked out of that room that night saying, someday, some way, somehow, I'm going to make it. And then, you know, the next 4 years were awful, right? You know, I was doing everything that I could to build a business, and nothing was working for me. I mean, I tried it all. I did like these CD things where I went and I passed these around, you know, a college campus. I did that. That didn't work for me. I did internet stuff, and I lost thousands of dollars just doing everything that I could to build my business, and it just wasn't working for me at all. And then it got to the point last March, a year ago in March, to where I was about ready to quit. I was about ready just to give up on my dreams for good. It was just almost too much for me to handle. I was to the point to where I was almost broke completely. I'd been out of a job for about 6 months, and all of my savings were gone. Didn't have any money. And then I got a phone call from Chris Rushlow, my sponsor in Empower Network, and he's like, you know, there's an event coming up in Chicago in April next month. You have to be there. And so I was like, all right, dude. What Chicago's only a few hours away from my house, so it just made sense for me to go. I'm like, all right, dude, I'll be there. And I got off the phone. I was like, I don't have any money or any way to buy a ticket. So I borrowed money from my parents to buy an event ticket to go to this event in Chicago. It was the next month. It was like March. And in that moment, I just decided for the next 30 days I was going to do whatever it takes to build my business. And from April 1st to April 21st, which was the day the event was, I made like $2,000 with Empower Network. Well, that month, so far that month. Well, I went to that event, and inside of this story, I'm going to share with you results of success and money and stuff like that. And in no way is that a guarantee of income. To create the success that you want and deserve, you have to work hard for a little while, and that's okay. But I went to that event, and then all of a sudden, that's whenever I had my big breakthrough, my big shift, because all of a sudden, like, I got to the point to where I believed it was possible. Whenever I saw Dave Wood and those guys living their dreams back in 2009, I believed it was possible, but I didn't believe that it was possible for me yet. And then I went to that event, and I saw people like Justin Varingia. I don't know how much he was making at the time, but a lot. I think he'd been making about $30,000 a month for like 6 months or so at the time. And I saw these people, and I got to meet them. I was actually in the top 200. I brought in like 10 people or so that month, and I was in the top 200. So I was able to hang out with these people. And all of a sudden, just by hanging out with them, I realized that they were no different than me, that they were just the same as me, and that if they could do it, I could do it. And I decided at that event that I was going to do it. And in my entire career on the internet, until that point, I'd always kind of believed that my breakthrough is like 90 days away, that it was always, 90 days from now I'm going to be rich, or 6 months from now I'm going to be rich. It's going to happen for me. And then I went to that event, and I stopped saying it's going to happen for me in the future, and I started saying it's going to happen for me now. I left that event. Over the next 10 days, I made over $8,000 with Empower Network, which is still one of my biggest weeks that I've ever had. And it was completely life-changing. That month, April of last year, after going from broke in March, I had my very first $10,000 five-figure month in my business. And ever since then, it's been my life has been just a blur. It's been a complete dream, everything that's happened. I've stepped into all of my visions. I got online the beginning of 2009, I believe, was whenever I first got started in this space. And I got online with a dream to live my dreams and to travel around the world, to speak on the stages. And everything that I've ever wanted has began to come true. And it's because whenever you have a dream and a vision, you never give up on it, you can have it. Because God wouldn't give you a dream that He didn't want you to have. So that's my story and how I got here.
That's very powerful. So, what would you say was, because you went from a shift of it was in the future, saying it's going to happen in 90 days, to it's going to happen now. Do you know? Is there something you remember? What caused that shift from there to there?
I think it was just, I think the biggest thing, because, see, here's what a lot of people don't understand about language. The language that you speak is what will happen. So a lot of people, they'll say things like, my breakthrough is right around the corner. Whenever you speak, whenever people, and these are why metaphors are so powerful. And I'll just get on this tangent real quick, and then I'll come back to that. But here's why metaphors are so powerful. The metaphors that you speak are actually real things in your unconscious mind. So if someone says, I'm frustrated, I feel like I'm banging my head against a wall. Well, in their mind, they actually are. At that moment, they're actually visualizing themselves banging their head against a wall. And so that's what's actually happening. It's a real thing. And so like Tony Robbins would say, well, why don't you just walk around the wall? And it'll actually remove their problem, not by changing anything, but just by changing what's happening in your unconscious mind. So whenever people say things like my breakthrough is right around the corner, when they speak that, inside of their mind, they're actually visualizing their breakthrough being around the corner. And whenever you say that, your breakthrough will always be around the corner. And so that's just some things that I've learned lately about language and things like that after studying and studying language. But yeah, I think the biggest thing was just hanging around people who did it. And the biggest shift that I have was that it's not only possible, but it's possible for me. Whenever I realized that at the event by hanging around people who were no better than me, no different than me, because now I believe that no one's better than me and I'm not better than anybody else. And by hanging out with those people, all of a sudden I just believed that it was possible for me. And so the second I grasped that fully, I just started taking crazy, massive action. Because the thing about people, a lot of times they want like the specific thingy they need to do. But the thing about people is what they really need is not the specific thingy they need to do, but actually belief shifts. Because whenever you have a belief shift that it's going to work for you, all of a sudden you'll start acting differently, you'll start speaking differently, you'll start working differently and harder, and you'll put in more energy, and then you begin to compress time frames, and all of a sudden, you know, what used to take you a month to do takes you a day to do, and that's what started happening for me. I got out of my own way, and I just followed the system of Empower Network, took crazy massive action, and so I basically worked really hard for about 30 days, and the last year I've worked not hard at all, to create. Now I've done over 6 figures. I believe I've done something like 115 with Empower Network, something like that. You know, at 23, you know, as a college dropout, I dropped out of college. I was going to college, and I didn't like it. It didn't work for me. It didn't fit into what I wanted to do. So I dropped out of college, and then I went and I got a job. And I've actually had 3 jobs in my life. I was fired from all 3 jobs because I'm just not good at working for somebody else, and so I failed at everything, but here I am succeeding because I just had a dream. And when you just have a dream, that's enough to help you get what you want.
Amen.
That is
You seem to have a lot of charisma in your decision that you have the dream and you're going for it. How do you transform that into your team to get them to have that same belief in that they can do it too? And the reason why most people join people because they have that strong charisma and belief in them.
Yeah, the biggest thing, like the biggest secret, if you want people to join you, have a vision for the future. That is seriously the biggest thing that you can ever do, and that's something that I've always done, is I've always, especially for the last year, if you follow people like Dave Wood, some of the big people on the internet, they're always speaking their vision into the future, and a couple of powerful things happen to that. Whenever you keep speaking your vision, like for example, I know my vision right now is to create 10 six-figure income earners within the next 90 days. And so whenever you keep speaking a vision like that, a couple of things will happen. Number one is people who watch you, they'll begin to believe in you and your vision. Whenever you have other people believing in your vision, it makes your vision a lot easier to accomplish, and then all of a sudden they'll start working to help you accomplish your vision, right? That's the first powerful thing that happens when you speak your vision. The second powerful thing that happens is every time you speak your vision, it gets more and more powerful inside of your own mind. Because whenever you're speaking your vision, even if the first time you speak it you don't even believe it, if you keep speaking it and speaking it and speaking it, eventually you will believe that it'll happen, and that's when things begin to happen. And how can you transfer that to other people? That's probably the biggest question that I would have as well, because that's a thing. Like I believe I'm reading Tony Robbins' Awaken the Giant Within. And I believe it's like 90% of people who buy his books don't read past the first chapter, right? And that makes you question. You know, it's like, why do people not succeed? They don't succeed because they aren't doing the things that successful people do. And what do successful people do, in my opinion, is they do the things in the 8 core steps. Even people that aren't in Empower Network actually do those things on a daily basis, which is you got to read every day. You got to listen to audio every day. And that's the big thing that I also started doing back in March. I popped in the audio. It's the July 23rd of 2012 audio, which I think it's called Speak the World into Existence. I'm sure you probably heard it. And I listened to that every day for 30 days straight. And in that audio, there's this line where Dave's like, all of a sudden it was easy for me. He says, one day I woke up and all of a sudden I could sponsor people. All of a sudden it was easy for me. And I listened to that every day. And then all of a sudden, exactly as he said it would happen, it happened for me. And all of a sudden it was easy for me too. And so I believe that's powerful, right? Because your brain actually can't tell the difference between talking to someone in person and talking to them or listening to them on an audio. Because who you hang out with, well, you'll actually become, because your brain has mirroring neurons, so you become the people you hang out with the most. But your brain can't tell the difference between listening to them and talking to them in person. So if you're listening to millionaires on a daily basis, I believe that's the fastest way to become one.
Yeah, that's so powerful. I remember having that conversation with you in the past, going, which ones are you listening to? Which audios? And that was one of the ones.
Yeah, I listen to all the Dave ones. I love the Dave Wood audio. Some people actually say that I speak a little bit like Dave, and that's not intentional. It's just because I've listened to so many of his audios, and I've read the same books that he's read. I've read a lot of the language books and things like that. But I love listening to those. It pumps me up. Listening to Dave pumps me up, fires me up, gets me ready to go. And so I would find a couple of people that you really like and that you can model after, even if it's not like, you need to have a mentor, but even if the mentor doesn't even know who you are, I think that's okay. I've only talked to Dave a few times in my entire life, yet I consider him my biggest mentor because I listen to his audios almost every day. So I would find a couple of people that you really like and that you can model, right? Like, especially if you're looking to join someone, like if you're watching right now, you're not in a business yet and you're looking to join someone, my biggest advice would be to join someone that you can model after, not someone that's going to help you and give you all the help that you need and babysit you, but someone that you can model after and get the same kind of results they're getting. But yeah.
So what are some of your favorite books that if you were to recommend folks to really good books to read?
My favorite books ever. Let me actually pull up. My favorite book ever is The Slight Edge, which is like the bestest book of all time. I love that one. I just read Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. Awesome book. Everything Tony Robbins I love. Awaken the Giant Within, Unlimited Power, also by Tony Robbins. I also have his Personal Power 2, which is his audio course, and it's really, really good. Let me see what else here I got. What to Say When You Talk to Yourself, that's a good book about the power of your unconscious mind. But The Slight Edge is like my favorite book ever. And The Slight Edge is basically based on a principle of like the penny a day double, which I'm sure you guys have like heard the story of if you were to take a penny every day, if someone's going to give you a penny every day and you doubled it, in 31 days, just starting with 1 penny, in 31 days it's over $10 million, which is crazy, right? Well, the thing that a lot of people don't realize is that same principle, like the compounding principle, is also true with the actions that you take. So if you start off taking an action every day and you do that same action every day, after a month, just like after 2 days of, the penny, you might not actually be able to see anything happening, but it actually is working. And over time, the actions that you take, small actions on a daily basis, add up to huge results, and a positive and a negative, right? If you, eat that one candy bar every day, it won't hurt you eating it today, but if you do that same action multiplied over 1,000 days, it does hurt you. Working out for, 15 minutes a day, it might not make you fit that one day, but doing that over 1,000 days, you can see a radical transformation. And it reminds me of something that Aaron Rashkin said in Charlotte. He said that people, they overestimate what reading can do for you in a year. They overestimate it in a year, and they underestimate what it can do for you in 10 years. And so it's kind of that principle. So that's what I try to do in my business every day, is I just try to do simple things every day. Just, read for 30 minutes, audio for an hour, simple things every day, a little bit of marketing, sending an email to a list that if I just did it one time, nothing would happen. I wouldn't really be able to tell the difference in my life. But over a long period of time, things begin to compound and you notice a big difference all of a sudden.
So basically, trusting the system, trusting the simple system. You
Yes.
trust yourself. You trust yourself. So yeah, Keisha, I've been coming with all these questions. Keisha, Greta, Alicia, any other questions and stuff?
You asked some of the questions that I wanted to ask, so thank you. Anyways, Oh, I love what you just said and what you just spoke about, because and how you touched on it in every level of your life, like whether it be physical stuff, you know, like exercise and reading and all those sorts of things. You know, even when we're dealing with our kids, if you have kids yourself, when, you know, or like brushing your teeth every day, whatever it is,
Yeah.
you know, it makes a difference in your life. And it kind of helps make it seem like, when you think of it, like, oh my God, I have to do this every single day. Sometimes it can seem daunting, or like, oh, I don't think I can do that for 10 years, or I don't think I can, but you know, like, you just take it one day at a time, and you just do those little bits and just chunk it into little bits and do it one little bit at a time. And so that I really appreciate, because, you know, sometimes you need to hear the same thing over and over and over and over and 10,000 times before it actually clicks. And and then you can implement it into your own life. Finally, like, you get it. One of the other questions that I had was just basically, if you can share with us what your why is, and when you finally gained complete clarity on what your why is.
Yeah, definitely. I think that a why is something. Oops, Jordan Schultz is calling me. I'll give him a call back here in a second. You guys know Jordan Schultz? He's awesome. He's awesome. But yeah, he's real cool. But I think that a why is, for me, it's really transformed over time. Like, whenever I first got started in 2009, you know, I wanted to do this, you know, to go buy cars and stuff, right? You know, I wanted to have a big house and everything. That was what I wanted. And then, you know, over time, it starts evolving a little bit more, and it went from, you know, I want stuff to I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to see places. And so that was a big why for me for a long time. And then that was actually the other big thing that happened in Chicago for me, which I don't know if you guys can get the recordings of the Chicago event, or if you weren't there, but if you were there, Dave Wood did this exercise. Yeah, and it was like 30 minutes where he put you into a trance and stuff, and you went down deep into your unconscious mind and figured out, you know, like, your purpose and stuff. And that was actually the other big thing that happened to me, where I realized that my bigger purpose was actually just to inspire people and uplift people to help them live their dreams. And so over the last year, that's really been my big why, especially, you know, once you start making money and stuff and you kind of have your own needs out of the way, things become different, right? And it's okay in the beginning just to want to make a bunch of money and stuff so that you can, you know, buy food or whatever you need, and that's okay. That's where, you know, I was. And then after, you know, 3 or 4 or 5 months of making $10,000 a month, all of a sudden, you know, your needs change, and all of a sudden it isn't about you anymore. It's about your people, and it's about the team, and it's about what can you do for humanity? How can you contribute? And you start getting into deeper and deeper and deeper levels of change. And so my big why right now is to help my team. I want to help my team have the same success that I'm having. And once I kind of get to that level, then it'll probably be to contribute on an even deeper level. How can I impact, you know, other countries? You know, how can I build schools and churches? And just a deeper and deeper why, the more and more money you make.
Awesome.
That's great. It's so wonderful. And, you know, and it's you know, it's so it's coinciding, actually. A lot of what we're doing in our we have a Superwomen group right now. We're doing a Superwomen boot camp, and it coincides a lot with what we're doing. And, you know, for those of the Superwomen watching right now, you can hear the message, you can see it. The men actually they're hanging out and watching and doing it, but it's all the same process. It's all the same process. So it's so powerful. You see for me, it's always like seeing a universal. When you see something that you've heard and you know, and then someone else is also embodying it, then yeah, it's like, wow, this is real. This is really real. You know, this all following a simple, you know, series of 8 core steps, getting to the events, reading, audio, all of that. That it, you know, everybody's looking for this powerful missing secret, and a lot of it, that's what it is. It says it helps the process. It's so powerful.
Yeah, I would definitely say that personal growth that would be another one of my big whys, because nothing really excites me more than looking back like 90 days ago and be like, I had no idea what I was doing 90 days ago, you know, to be able to grow every single day. And so every day I go into every day trying to learn something new, you know, reading every day. Like, those are the biggest things, because like, if you think about it, it's like, if you can transform you, then you can help other people transform them. And you can't really create the income that you want without changing yourself. And a lot of people, they sort of get in, you know, just wanting to make money and stuff, and then they realize that to really do it on a big level, they have to change. And that's why, you know, because I left Empower Network for a couple of months. I got really burnt out towards the end of last year. I was frustrated, and so I left Empower Network a couple of months, and people always ask me, you know, why I came back. And it's because at Empower Network, we help you do that. We help you transform you. And other companies, they don't do that, especially the company that I was in for a little while in that break there, you know, they don't help people do that at all. And so, and the truth about that is that if you start making a lot of money, but you don't change who you are, the money won't last, which is why people who win the lottery, on average, they go broke. In fact, on average, 70% of NBA basketball players are bankrupt within 5 years of getting out. And it's because they got money without changing them. You have to change who you are to have the success and to really keep the money.
That's really, really powerful, Landon. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Awesome. As I'm listening to your whole story, I also went to the Chicago event, and it's so many similarities. It's crazy to me, because I went to previous events, and it seems like at each event there was something new that I took away, and I realized, oh, okay, it's not just them. I can do this. And then I believe also when I was at Chicago, I'm like, you know what? I can do this. I can do this. And I don't know if it was the thing that David Wood had us do that you just mentioned. I don't know what it was that we came away with, like, similar thoughts. But what I really think is profound is that you speak about the compound effect. And a lot of times we want it and we have it, we see it, and it was someone that was speaking before said we get it. It may have been Aaron Rashkin or somebody saying we get success in little drips or just little bits. But when we become more consistent and just keep doing those little steps, we'll see it. It'll be raining down success on us, and it's just powerful to me. And I just really appreciate you sharing that, because that is really, really important that we just take those steps daily. And I've been doing this for about 2 years, and I'm like, Keisha, what is it? What is it going to take? And you hit it right on the nail. You have to be consistent. You got to take those little steps. Simple. Just like Greta said, we could hear it, but then it's sometimes someone says it, and then it clicks. So thank you, Landon. Thank you for that.
Cool. Glad to help. And yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing. And so that's what I take to my life. I kind of envision like whenever, before I do anything or on a day, it's like, what if I were to repeat exactly what I do today for the next 1,000 days? How'd my life look? And so that's kind of how I like filter everything in my mind. And so it's like, I want to go like eat like at McDonald's or something. And it's like, well, if I were to eat at McDonald's every day for the next 1,000 days, how would my life look? And then it's like working out. It's like I don't really feel like working out. But if I worked out every day for the next 1,000 days, how would my life look? And so it keeps me doing the things that I need to do and also not doing the things that I shouldn't be doing to keep my life on track. And so I kind of look at things through that filter, a more, I kind of like take a bird's eye view of my life and like a timeline of what my life would look like. But then also at the same time, a lot of people, the reason why, and I'm reading a lot of Tony Robbins, so I'm kind of taking everything through his perspective, but he speaks about people, the reason why they procrastinate a lot of times is because they take things in their mind and they make them way bigger than what they are. And so they like look at it and it's like things are like right up there in your face. It's almost like it's like a big mountain in your face. And so you're like, oh, that's just so much to do. And so sometimes what you need to do is picture that mountain in your eyes and then just make the mountain smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and make it a little hill. and then just walk right over it. And so for me, it helps to look at everything through 1,000 days, but I also know that other people that could be overwhelming. So you kind of need to figure out how your mind works and use the metaphors that you need. And definitely read Tony Robbins stuff, everyone watching. I love Tony Robbins right now. I'm just going through all of his stuff.
I agree. I love Tony Robbins too.
Yeah.
That was, for me personally, my journey basically started, this journey, this personal development journey for me started with Tony Robbins. I can't remember how old I was. It was a long time ago, but my parents sent me one of his audio sets, and I had left a relationship that needed to end, an abusive relationship, and I just started to shift. I started to think about how I wanted to feel, and I wanted to feel inner contentment. Some of you watching this might be in that same place. You might just be, wavering, where you don't know exactly how you want to move on with your life and grow and let go of the past. For me, this is what I did, and I just continued to focus on these feelings, these 3 feelings. I think it was love, health, and inner contentment. And I was really focused on that all the time. And then all of a sudden, I started to take action and on things that I never took action on before. And I started to introduce, different things into my life, like a different healthy lifestyle into my life. I struggled with my health for many, many years, and it was suffering, and just all these shifts started to come into play. And that's the thing. It's like the power of that one decision when you decide, okay, enough is enough. I'm ready to let go and just embrace what is ahead in my life. And it's funny, I was sitting here and I opened up this book, which The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind.
Oh, I love that book.
And one of the things I came to, which I wanted to share, was the key to success is to raise your own energy. When you do, people will naturally be attracted to you, and when you show up, bill them. And I think it's so funny because Keisha, I think it was you who had mentioned earlier about Landon, about your energy and your enthusiasm.
Yeah.
You just have this life and energy about you. I have a question for you. Is that also part of what gave you that shift? Were you always this way? Did you always have this type of energy and this influence on people?
That's a good question. I don't know. Well, I didn't have influence on people. I can tell you that for sure, because it was like 4 years of trying to get everyone in my business. I think until Chicago, I hadn't brought in very many people at all. I didn't have influence at all until Chicago. And I think what happened was I was able to really get clear and centered with myself, and I call it living on purpose, to where whenever you're living. And so right now I know that, like, every day, for example, I got to the point last year where I had a really down month. I think it was like September of last year. I had a down month, like a really down month from what I was used to. And a lot of people would get frustrated by that. And I kind of look at life through like this, like a spirals, right? To where it's like sometimes like good things are happening, you're kind of like spiraling upward. And then a lot of people, they'll kind of let a negative thing happen and then spiral downward. Well, like for me, I was in a place to where I looked at what I really wanted to accomplish, which was inspiring people and helping people. And that month, even though I had a down month, I'd still done what I wanted to do, which was to really inspire people. I'd still been doing my webinars, and so I was still on purpose with my life. And so it didn't affect me at all. And then the next month, in October, I had like my biggest month ever. And so like for me, I think my biggest, enthusiasm comes from just living, like, do you guys follow Brendan Bouchard at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome too. And it's just living life, to the fullest every day, and knowing, if I were to go today, I at least gave it everything that I had.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's funny you mentioned Brendan, because I remember I'd heard him back in 2009.
Wow.
Yeah, and he had just recently, and I don't know his story, but he'd had sort of a weird sort of near-death kind of situation, or like it was a life-changing moment. And from that one life-changing, moment, like you can have that shift at any time, and that shift can take you. Like you had a shift in Chicago, something that happened for you, and that literally, and at any moment it could happen. You could say like right now, it's happening right now. It's happening now. It's happening today. You can choose to make that happen. You went to the event with the intention of having something happen. It sounds like in your story, you had the intention when you got to the event that something powerful was going to happen for you.
Yeah, that is the truth, and that's like another thing that I would say is another huge secret, which is intention. And the reason why intention is so important, like before I go to every event, I set an intention for what I want to, the outcome that I want to have happen by going to the event. And so what happens is my unconscious mind will seek for the information that it needs to have. Because the truth is, and if you heard they would speak at all, which I'm sure all of you have, your unconscious mind, it only processes, or your conscious mind processes like 5 to 7 bits of information every moment, whereas your unconscious mind is processing the rest, which is, billions. You basically look at your life through like a camera lens. So if you were to like go to a party and you had your camera pointed on like one side of the party and there's people fighting, you would view that party as like negative. Whereas on the other side, it could have been people having a lot of fun and everything. And so that's how you look through your life. And so if you go to an event and you don't have an intention for what you want to accomplish, then there could be a conversation right next to you having the exact information that you want, but because you weren't clear on what that was, you wouldn't even have realized it. Whereas if you said, I'm going here, because I want to figure out how to get traffic, whatever it is, I want to get 100 leads a day, there could be a conversation right next to you talking about it. So that was the other thing that I did last March, was I got super clear with the outcomes. And now, like before I do almost anything, which I didn't do it before hopping on this one today actually, so I everything, but before almost everything, I set an intention for what I want to accomplish. So before every video I make, I will sit down and say, what is the outcome that I want? Because my unconscious mind can just do way more, and it'll start giving me all of the things that I need to say to accomplish that specific outcome during it.
So important.
Yes.
I'm so glad that got brought up for everybody watching. I mean, it's just like, it makes all the difference in the world when you set an intention. Like you could be doing, cutting, you could even try it. Cut a random video without setting an intention, and then cut another one with an intention and see what the difference is. I mean, it's incredible. It's amazing. I know when I come to these Millionaire Mindset Hangouts, I get so pumped because I know, like, I set an intention to have a mind shift, like a breakthrough moment every time I come here. And I get so excited every week because I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get my breakthrough, It just is what it is. It's just awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, definitely set intentions before everything, before every video, before every blog post, before anything. Because, like, for example, like I'll set an intention, like in this video I want people to buy stuff. So the outcome of this video is getting people to buy. And then whenever you watch the video, it'll just be free talking, but then you'll remember the embedded commands of telling people to buy. Everything will be clear, getting you towards that outcome. So I think it's really, really important because your unconscious mind, it handles pretty much everything. Dave Wood, even in Charlotte, said that your unconscious mind will actually make decisions a split second before you'll even know what those decisions are consciously. And that's the other reason why it's so important to listen to audio, because you'll reprogram and rewire what's in, the deep parts of your mind, so that the questions that you ask yourself, like Tony Robbins teaches, that if you aren't happy, a lot of the reasons why it's because throughout the day you're asking yourself questions, constantly asking yourself questions, and the questions that you're asking yourself are giving you answers that you don't like the answer to. And so if you can change the questions that you ask, you'll change your entire life.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I just want to point out for those of you that if you don't have access to audios, there's a little button below, and the one Landon talked about, the July 23rd, 2012, in there you can get access to it. There's a little sort of button below the yellow one. You can get access to it down there. And I think even like last week we had Chris Rushlow was on with us, and some of his audios are in there as well too. So that's available on the page. So. Anybody else here? Because we like to keep these short and focused, so everybody feels that every week they can come in and get their boost. And anybody, Alicia, Greta, Keisha, Landon,
Sure.
last words?
I'll say a big thank you. We've had a lot of big words out here, I think explained a lot more clearly of, those baby steps from the slight edge that I always look at a baby. Whenever they're growing, they may have that intention or commitment to be able to walk, but they don't know exactly what it's going to be like walking yet. They have to take those baby steps, and you just never know. So I love watching babies learn how to walk and see just that little transformation, and I always put that in so many more ways in our lives. So that's why I thrive on, I love teaching babies my music, right? And seeing that transformation and always having those intention. And I passed out a DVD this last weekend, and he gave it back and says, thank you, but I know that takes a big commitment, and I'm not ready for that. So I appreciate those that come here and know that what is involved and that you have to make a decision to make a commitment really to your life. And if people like to join businesses, but they don't want to change their lifestyle. And I think that's a wrong way to look at it. I think it's a way to look at what is your attention that you want to create, period. Maybe it isn't a change. You just still want to stay at home and, be with your children like me. I was like, I just want to stay at home mom, right? And it's really that life shift that you have to make through everything that Landon shared and Greta and everybody. I love all the tips that y'all have given. And creating those big words and remembering how you transform our lives every day and taking this information you learned today and putting it in part of your life. So I want to appreciate and thank you, Landon, for coming out and sharing those insights with us on how we can and use this to transform our lives. So check it out. Hopefully we'll have some more awesome guests on the Millionaire Mindset Hangout.com and see how people transform their lives using those simple steps of intention and decision and commitments to move forward in their lives. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yes.
Anybody else before we head out? Because we got the Superwoman call at the top of the hour, and we'd love to invite you out for that. There's going to be a big mind shift for the ladies, going to talk about how you just do it and what makes you change and making sure that you just do it. And I say, no regrets, because you're just going to make that decision, just do it, don't go back. And so there's going to be some more powerful ladies that come out at the top of the hour for that phone call, and it's about 23 minutes that you can get on and get some more ideas and tools to help you stay strong in what you're planning on doing. Anything else, my ladies?
No, I'm
Landon?
good. Just want to thank you, Landon.
Thank you, Landon. Landon. Woohoo!
Also, if I could get the link to like the replay of it, so I can send it out and stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's just at the MillionaireMindsetHangout.com right now, and just add your ID equals, I think it's what Landon's doing, right?
Yeah.
Ours might kind of rotate sometimes too, but if you put the ID, if you're inside of Empower, that's where you can share this wonderful hangout, connect with us, connect with who recommended you to see this transformation, and connect with them. We want everybody to be empowered here to be able to transform their lives and the information they find here, because we're striving to keep towards that millionaire mindset, because I know Landon's going to reach that ring here soon. He's already one of the top 200, and I think it's more powerful to align yourself with leaders that are reaching that higher level. There's only a few people I met in my life that had that vision to reach, get 100 people to reach a millionaire status, and I don't know, Landon, how many you've mentioned, but I know David Wood has that vision, and I try to align with them. So I can mention a few more that I've followed that's had that vision. But that is very powerful, what we learned here. So connect with the person who shared this information with you guys today, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Anything else?
Woohoo!
Great. Bye, guys.
Bye.